Am I the astronaut for telling my parents that I blamed them instead of my brother? I, 15 male, turned 15 last Thursday and had my party that Friday. Everything was going good until my nephew, 5 male, came. I didn't even want him to come because he's not well behaved at all, but they told me that they didn't want him to feel excluded by everyone else being invited and they'll just have my brother watch him better. I told my dad that I didn't want him coming because I didn't want him throwing a fit all night, but they told me that he wouldn't be and that I shouldn't be dramatic. They told me that they didn't want their grandchild to be upset because he wouldn't be there, and if something does go wrong, they'll take responsibility for it. My nephew threw my birthday cake on the floor. I threw it on the ground. Nobody wants your autograph. That's the worst. He was upset that he didn't get to blow out the candles and started screaming and crying when my brother held him back. After he calmed down, he literally dug his hands into the cake and slid it to the floor. I was disappointed, not surprised. My brother and parents were apologetic, and my brother compensated our parents for my cake and apologized to me. It's been 3 days, and I'm basically over it now, but my brother called me after school and told me that he wants to take me out for an apology birthday dinner, but I told him that it was fine and that our parents were already planning on getting me another cake, so it really wasn't a big deal. He asked me if I was sure, and I told him that I was and thanked him for giving them the money. I told him I was already planning on going out with my friends and we could do it another time. After that, we kind of talked some more before he hung up. When my parents got home, they told me that my brother told them that morning that he was going to invite me out, and they asked me if I accepted it. When I told them that I didn't, they got mad at me for refusing and said that I probably made him feel worse than he already does. He didn't sound hurt to me. I told them that he already gave them money to pay for the cake and that I'm grateful for that. I told them that I don't blame him at all and I blamed them instead. I said if they felt bad, it could have been avoided if they didn't invite my nephew in the first place, and that they said they were going to take responsibility, but instead they're making my brother pay for the cake that they said they were responsible for. They got mad when I said this and said that they didn't mean to ruin my birthday and that they didn't want my nephew and brother to feel left out. My parents have been acting pretty cold to me since, but I'm not too worried. Whenever we have a disagreement, they usually ignore me until the next day, and then they just magically forget everything that happened. I'm just confused if I was wrong or not. This kid is 15. I mean, this is a 15-year-old kid. And then his brother, his nephew is 5. So his brother is old enough to have a 5-year-old kid. We don't know how old the brother is, but he's old enough to have a 5-year-old kid. The thing that really gets me in this, and the question is, am I the astronaut for telling my parents that I blamed them instead of my brother? No, because you said ahead of time. Actually, they said ahead of time, if anything goes wrong, we will accept personal responsibility. Well, something went wrong, and they did not accept personal responsibility. So you're holding them accountable for that because they said they were going to be accountable for that. How does that make you an asshole? It doesn't. They said they would be accountable. They have not held themselves accountable. Instead, they've held your brother accountable. And yes, it's his kid that did this terrible thing, and that the parents are on the hook to be able to make those kind of things right. And he did, but it kind of seems like the parents are just leaving it at that. And they're like, oh, he did this thing. That's enough. We don't need to do anything. Yes, you do. But they also said they're going to take him out. Not like take him out. They're going to take him out for a makeup birthday dinner or get him another cake or something. They're going to take him out. They're going to make it up to him by getting him another cake, but it could have been avoided in the first place. I think, you got an unruly little 5-year-old there. It's your 15-year-old's birthday. If he says explicitly, I don't want this to be ruined by this kid, I think you as a parent have a responsibility to at least take that request a little bit more seriously and have a conversation with your other son about his unruly, rampant little velociraptor of a 5-year-old. And make sure that you're doing everything possible to avoid it. And maybe they did that, but at the end of the day, they said they would be responsible for anything that went wrong. Now they have to make good on that. Otherwise, their word means nothing. And I don't think you want your word meaning nothing to your 15-year-old kid. Opie's parents insisted that he was invited. Yes, they insisted. And I understand their position too. They don't want, their other kid to miss out on this. They don't want their only grandchild to miss out on this either. I understand it's a very difficult position for them to be in. However, if your child that is having a birthday has a specific request, I feel like you have to do a little bit more than just immediately dismiss that request. And that's what they did in this case. Is the 5-year-old maybe special needs? Could be. I mean, Could be. And I don't know that a 15-year-old will know to mention that. You know what I mean? But there's another side of me that's like, oh, OP, just get ready, because like it's going to get more hellacious as time goes on, and you're going to learn pretty soon that like your birthday parties aren't necessarily a celebrate you kind of party. It's just another chance for the family to get together at some point here. But that comes later on with age. At 15, it still very, very, very much matters. And the parents here have just failed on a couple of accounts. The biggest one and the most important one for this story is saying that they'll be accountable and then choosing not to be. And that sucks. So no, you blame them because they said if anything goes wrong, blame us. You're doing exactly what you guys talked about. Exactly.